Well, good morning. I'm Landon Derentz, Senior Director of the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center, live from COP, engaged in our inaugural COP conversation as we're here at the Global Decarbonization Accelerator in Dubai. Excited for a very vibrant conversation around the climate crisis and actually thinking about climate action, how industry partners, global leaders can engage effectively in addressing climate change. I'm here with Sherri Goodman, who is the Secretary General of the International Military Council on Climate and Security. Very excited for an inaugural conversation on the topics of security and climate and how we can really transform the climate crisis into some opportunities. Sherri, welcome to Dubai. Why are you here on the ground?
Well, Landon, it's great to be here with you at the Global Decarbonization Accelerator venue. And I'm here because over 25 years ago for COP in 1997, when I was a serving U.S. Department of Defense official, I sent the first U.S. Department of Defense delegates to a COP. And it was a different era. There was nothing like the venue we're in today. And we were at the very early stages of the massive energy transition we're in today. So we have seen that climate change has become a threat multiplier and it amplifies our security risks around the world. And we are at a deep inflection point in the change in the global geopolitical landscape, facing the greatest threats we have since World War II. And at the same time, we're in the middle of a massive energy transition, the greatest in the last 100 years. And that's why I'm here, because I'm excited about moving from a threat multiplier, a phrase I coined when I organized the first group of generals and admirals to address the national security implications of climate change in 2007, to today in 2023, where we see the energy transition as an opportunity multiplier for the future.
Well, I think the general public, when they think about the COP experience, is often familiar with technologists, world leaders. I saw the Secretary of State yesterday walking, the head of the WTO. But there's a defense composite to this delegation as well, right? You were saying that you had an opportunity to meet with the Secretary General of NATO on the ground here at the COP. I know that the U.S. Department of Defense has its second delegation in 2 years on the ground in Dubai. What brings these leaders and people like yourself to the COP? And how are you looking to engage that maybe the general public isn't as familiar with?
Well, yes, I did spend yesterday with NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg, who has been a champion of understanding climate security as what he calls a crisis multiplier, a version of threat multiplier, on the risks that NATO faces as it goes about to secure our future and secure our transatlantic future. He also sees, as I do, the opportunity for militaries to lead by example in decarbonizing defense. And that has benefits for the broader civilian sector as well, particularly where militaries are a significant share of energy use, how they transition, how they electrify, how they decarbonize, can have spin-off benefits in the civilian sector, and also the technology and innovation can have multiple benefits.
Well, you talk about the operational component and how this technology can be deployed, but you also talked about the complex geopolitical landscape that we're living in these days. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see climate as a threat multiplier? And then I want to build into a little bit of a conversation how it can be a benefit as well. But what is it doing? How is climate taxing global affairs?
Well, one of the most vivid examples we see, Landon, is in the Arctic, where because of climate change, because global temperatures have risen in the Arctic almost 4 degrees now, we see opening sea lanes, retreating sea ice, permafrost thaw and collapse. A region of the world that we have for the last quarter century characterized as a zone of cooperation is increasingly becoming a zone of competition and potentially conflict. A race for resource, the vast resources that are being opened up because of climate change, more energy resources and mineral resources in the Arctic, and also changing access and competition both with Russia, China, and other forces in the region. So that's an example where climate change has opened a whole new ocean and zone of competition in our lifetime. But it also, the droughts across much of the equatorial parts of the planet are amplifying existing water and food insecurities in much of the Sahel and Africa, and even across Central and Latin America. And that is forcing people to seek new sources of food, water, and shelter, leading to displacement and the largest wave of climate migrants or displaced people that we have seen since World War II.
Well, so, shifting the conversation from one of the challenges, I think the vast majority of people that are coming here to Dubai see and are experiencing being a part of this dialogue in the COP28 experience because they're hopeful and they see an opportunity for a future horizon, a net zero future. Tell me, how can we take these challenges and refashion them for a purpose of amplifying opportunity and a better future?
Well, I'm very excited about the net zero opportunities across the board. 25 years ago, we didn't see that. We saw the risks and we didn't understand how to reduce emissions, but at the same time use energy as an opportunity multiplier. But now we see that, and we see that particularly in the defense sector, where there's a massive movement to electrify, to move to net zero sources, to look at alternative energies, to kind of rewire the whole way we think about energy in that sector of the economy, which is true now across many sectors. We used to think that you just needed more fossil fuels to get better performance. Now we realize that's not true, that efficiency is also a very important energy source, that being able to be light and agile when you want to operate in what we call a contested logistics environment is beneficial, and that being diversified and having distributed energy sources, maybe hooked to a microgrid with renewables, with storage, net, small modular reactors, and new designs of materials and equipment is going to provide us many more opportunities in the future.
Well, Sherri, I'm super thankful that you're bringing these messages here to the COP and appreciative of you joining us at the Global Decarbonization Accelerator. The Atlantic Council wishes you great success through the rest of the COP, and thanks so much for the time.
And I wish you, Landon, great success too. And thank you for all the energy and leadership you bring to the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Center.
Thanks.